Hi, I'm Ellen van der Meulen. I'm 27 years old, and I'm one of the co-founders of Zlto. At Zlto, we increase and track positive behavior.
Great. Could you give us a glimpse into what your childhood was like and how it shaped who you are?
I grew up on the Cape Flats, Mitchells Plain specifically, and I have like the same story that everyone has. Families are always trying to make ends meet. There's not enough money. You have to deal with a lot of poverty. You're not sometimes sure like where your meals are coming from, but your parents seem to want to make things happen. But just living in that society, I see a lot of people make choices that they don't have to make simply because they believe they don't have options. So people would find easy ways to make money and end up like joining gangs or like selling drugs or doing whatever they need to do, or even dropping out of school because they don't have any options. So my whole aim has always been, how do we give people more options so they don't have to make the choices that they make currently?
What inspired you to create Zlto and focus on using an app to reward young people for volunteering? Were there any specific experiences or encounters that motivated you to take this action?
I mean, if you just look at why people are unemployed now, they either don't have work experience, they don't have skills, or they don't have money to find work. And even if you speak to just, I don't look at like a lot of the statistics and stats. It's like, oh, this person was with me in grade 2. He hasn't completed high school with me. So that means he's just standing on the corner now. And if you ask him, he'll say, look, I don't have skills. Who's going to hire me? No, I don't have any experience. They don't want to, so then no one's going to hire me. So if you don't tackle experience, skills, and money at the same time, someone won't get the job. Because you can have skills and experience and don't have money to get to the interview. You can have money to get to the interview and no skills, so you don't get the job. You need to solve everything at the same time. So for me, it's simple. If we can allow people to get the experience through volunteering, they can get the skills they need. And if we pay them with this incentive, which we call Zlto, they can use that to reduce the cost of finding work or the cost of living.
Perfect. How has Zlto impacted the lives of young people in South Africa who have used the app? Can you share any heartwarming or inspiring stories of individuals who have benefited from this program?
No, of course. So we have this young man, Geronimo de Klerk. He's someone that I met during lockdown in 2020, and he signed up as a volunteer on Zlto, and he used it to earn for working in the community garden. He then came to us and said, how does he partner with Zlto so he can get more volunteers to use the app as well? We then seen that because of that, he's been able to feed the community of Elsie's River where he stays, and he registered an organization, and I mean they use that to speak to the Minister of Agriculture, and now they're getting funding from the department. And for me, it's like, how does someone who's 18 years old from a community like Elsie's get in touch with the government, and how do you mobilize a community? But Zlto can assist. So when he's talking to them, it's not just, okay, work with me because I have a good heart or I'm passionate. It's like here's every hour of every day that all our volunteers have worked, and this is what we produced. And you can see sort of this nice time lapse of impact. And because everything is like documented and verified using blockchain, they know that he's not talking nonsense. He actually did what he said he did.
Perfect. Doing research and not blindly accepting what you've been told is something you advocate for. Can you tell us about a time when your research led you to challenge a prevailing belief or approach and how it ultimately benefited your work?
Well, that's a very interesting, loaded question. It's like, so I guess for me, it's like, for the longest time, it felt like everything was rigged. Where it's like, this is how it's going to be. If you live in this area, this is going to be your life. Only things are only allocated for certain people. But when you start to look at how do people actually do investments, people actually don't care about a lot of the stuff that we worry about. People have this misconception about like what BE means and not understanding that you can also benefit from these kind of initiatives. So for me, that's the way I live my life. I don't just, if I hear someone say something, I go, grain of salt. What are they saying? Go speak to someone, go take your time, and then come and move back. I can't just blindly believe any information, even if it comes from a truthful source. It's like, no, how does this apply to my community? Because someone will just throw like a random stat and say, oh, there's no like, only 1 out of, or only 50% of youth are unemployed. And I'm like, but in my community, I got none of my cousins are working. So now that stat must be higher than you claiming, man, because not everyone is a part of like the census or the statistics. And I mean, people don't open the door when they come and knock. Yeah. So I don't just look at information that's out there. I need to have conversations with people who are thinking the same and that think differently. And then whatever we get to as the truth, that's the information I go with.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How have you personally found a balance between making a positive impact and impoverished communities and ensuring that sustainability and growth of your business?
Sustainability is hard. okay, especially when you're working in impoverished communities, because sustainability is hard, especially when you're working in impoverished communities, because you're not just working, well, you're not just selling a product. You know,
Yeah.
it's not just like, okay, I'm selling like bread or milk, whatever. People will just buy it and they'll be able to make money. The people that you're working with don't have money and have no alternatives. So that means sustainability is harder. But we looked at, if the people can't pay, then who are the people that can? So now we start to look at, can we get on board with someone's corporate social investment or corporate social can we work with someone's corporate social initiative or corporate social responsibility department and have them, contribute to what Zlto is doing? Zlto can also be used as like a marketing tool, because we've got over 400,000 people on our platform. Suddenly a retailer can go, how do we get our product in the hands of people? And instead of just putting like an advert in a newspaper or online, they can ensure that the young person went and created impact in the community, gained experience before they walked into your store. So your marketing led to impacting hundreds or thousands of people. So for us, that could be a nice revenue source. We also regularly speak to impact organizations and funders. So we might work with, for example, we've worked with the Dow, Michael and Susan Dow Foundation. We've worked with E Squared, more recently Imaginable Futures and Google and MasterCard, and a lot of other organizations that will fund the impact that we create.
Many young people face insurmountable obstacles and believe their circumstances limit their ability to achieve big goals. Can you share a personal example of overcoming such challenges and offer advice to others who may find themselves in similar situations?
I mean, I'll answer it like this every day. You see, like, we live in a society where people don't expect you to do well. So it's like, okay, your family grew up poor, so what's going to happen to you? Okay, your uncle's a gangster, so what's going to happen to you? So every day you're fighting for your position in life. Right? So for me, the thing is, why would you stop? I read something recently, or not recently, I read something previously. If you're going through hell, keep going. And for me, that always makes a lot of sense, man, because it's like, oh, the times are tough, so I'm going to stop now, so then you will live in the tough times. But if you just keep going, then things must improve. But you need to take action. So too long, people sit and they wait for the government, they wait for their family, they wait for their parents. But you have time. Like, what are you doing? People brag more about how much episodes of a series they complete and how much books they read. But if you read books, it will get you to employment. If you watch series, you just have a good conversation. So it's up to you and what you choose to do.
What drives you to continue working towards your vision of seeing people in your community living without poverty and pursuing their dreams? Are there any specific moments or encounters that reaffirms your dedication to this cause?
I mean, I see it every day. I just speak to my family and they're like, they're not working. You walk to the shop and you see a guy standing on the corner. You can't escape the poverty. And then one of the things that I saw recently, we went to see one of our partners in Gauteng, Johannesburg Inner City Partnership, and we saw these people that are volunteering, and they on like the kind of like the neighborhood watch, and they were patrolling in the evening, and we were just driving to like our Airbnb, and we see this group of users volunteering, and it's like, yo, flip, these are the people that we're serving, man. It's not just numbers on an app. It's like, yo, there's this person actually standing, and they're gonna earn Zlto, when we part of the reason that this community is safer, but also part of the reason that they get to eat. So I mean, how can we not continue doing that?
Wow. Okay, looking ahead, what are your future aspirations for Zlto?
That's another loaded question, because when you have an app, people are talking about, let's get a lot of users on the app. And for us, the longest time, the goal has been to get to like 1 million users. The conversation has now shifted to, what's the highest quality of members we can have on the platform? So not just running up the numbers, and really take people on this pathway and this vision to get to their goals. And then also looking at how are people currently measuring their impact. We want Zlto to be the go-to platform for any person wanting to do impact investing or improve a community, because everything can be tracked and verified, and the money can actually go to the people, because there's a lot of like corruption and thing in society. But with Zlto, we can show you where every single rand went, to who it went to, and what that person did to receive it. So I just want full transparency in the impact space.